AI is everywhere, and you as a teacher can use AI in your classroom, but you don't want to have students use information from the internet, you don't want it to hallucinate, and you don't want students to get answers, you want them to think for themselves. So this is where AI GPTs or agents come in. These are tools or chatbots that are tailored to what you as a teacher want your students to learn. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create your own AI GPT in ChatGPT, and these GPTs use the information that you provide. So this can be your teaching materials, the booklets, your book, everything that you put in the GPT is what the GPT will use. Now in this video, we're going to look at an example GPT I made, and I'll put the link in the description as well. And we're going to create our own, and you'll see how simple it actually is to create a GPT. Now a quick warning, this is a paid feature of ChatGPT, so that means that you need ChatGPT Plus or higher to access these features. But if you're in the United States, you can use ChatGPT for Education, which I think is a bit cheaper. And if your school uses Microsoft Copilot and has a Copilot license, you can even use those features within Microsoft Copilot, which is also built on ChatGPT. So let's have a look how you can build a GPT or an agent as an educator for your students. So this is my ChatGPT screen, and what we're going to do is we're going to click on Explore GPTs, and in the upper right hand side you can find Create, and here you can type and create your GPT. Now it has several options. You can create this in a sort of chat form, but you could also configure all of the features yourself, and it will give you an immediate preview of your GPT. Now I have already created a GPT, and this is my GPT for my students. Now some of the things are in Dutch because it's aimed at and created for Dutch students, but I just want to go through the GPT with you. So of course we need to give it a name, we need to give it a description. It can also generate an image. I don't really like this image, but that's for later. And the instructions part is very important because the instructions limit the GPT. So if you want your GPT to give feedback but don't give answers, you need to put that in the instructions section. So that's very important and something to keep in mind. There are some conversation starters you can include, so things that you maybe want your students to focus on. And this is also a very important part, the knowledge section. Now, if you've used Copilot, Microsoft Copilot in your Microsoft 365 environment, you're probably familiar with this knowledge thing, because GPTs are called agents in Copilot, and you can use information from SharePoint or files in your agent. But again, even in Copilot, this is a paid feature. Now, as you can see, I've uploaded everything that we've used in class for my students. So there's the booklet that we use to give information about argumentative essays. There's the rubric that we use to correct their essays. There's an example. There's a list of vocabulary, and there are some grammar for writing exercises which contain things like common mistakes, the passive, and other information regarding grammar and writing. Now I've uploaded all of these things because I want my students to use information that I give them when they're preparing for their test. I don't want them to go online and find information about argumentative essays. Not that it's something that differs a lot, but I just want to make sure that they really get the information that I want them to have. Finally, there are some other things that you can change. You can work with the capabilities of the GPT. So you could say web search, canvas, image creation, or code interpreter and data analysis, but that's of course not very important. And there are some actions you could do, and actions can use APIs, which are codes from other websites and other sources in your GPT. But for the sake of this tutorial, we're not going to look at actions because that's not very important now. So as I mentioned, the instructions are important, and ChatGPT generated this instruction for me based on the conversations that I had, and I'll put this in the description or put a Word file with this instruction in the description so you can have a look yourself. So now it's time that we create our own GPT, and if you click on Explore GPTs and you click on Create, you get to this GPT editor. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Create tab and not Configure tab, because I want to use this chat-like system to create at least the basics of my GPT. And you'll notice when we go back to the Configure page that it will also generate the instructions for the GPT for us. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create an essay writing GPT for my Year 4 students, which are at B1 level English. So it resembles the one that I showed you a few minutes ago. So I'm going to give it some instructions, and I want these instructions to follow the same sort of structure that we use in regular prompting. Now, there are a few things different, of course, because we have the time to edit and everything. But have a look at what I'm doing, and then we'll see the outputs. And as you can see, after I put in my prompt, it's now updating the GPT. Now it gives me some names, and it says B1 essay helper, and I think that's fine. Fine. All right. Now it's going to give me the option to create an image, and we'll see what it does. So it's generating a profile picture for this GPT. And this is also the time where you could change your profile picture if you want, but I don't really mind, so we're going to keep it like this. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to have a look at the configure page and see what we can find here. So of course we have the name, we have the description, and the instructions. Now the instructions are, as I mentioned, very important because it basically limits the GPT and it gives it the options of what it wants to do. So we're going to look at the instructions in a second. We'll also look at conversation starters, but the first thing that I want to do is I want to upload my files. And the problem here is that we are uploading files to ChatGPT. I don't know what it does with the files, so that's something to keep in mind if you have copyrighted materials or you're using school materials that might not be that you may not use in these situations. So that's something to keep in mind. But for the sake of this exercise, I'm going to upload a few files. So I've selected all of my files and they're being updated and uploaded, and it's using the information to create and generate their answers. Now what I'm going to do as well is I'm going to select a few things that it shouldn't use. So it's not allowed to use web search. I don't want anything from Canvas, and I also don't want image generation. So those things are not important now. Now it's important, again, as I mentioned, to look at the instructions because the instructions limit the GPT, as I mentioned several times. So it's important to go through your instructions and see whether it does everything you want it to do. And you can also be specific here. So for example, it says it does not grade work formally, but can suggest improvement and check if a text meets B1 expectations. And I can say it can give information about sentence structure and other things that are important. So I might say that as well. So I simply added one extra line, and this of course also is used in the outputs that it generates. So let's have a look at what happens if I preview this GPT. So let's say that I want to know what topic sentences are, and it uses information from the sources that I've uploaded. So it doesn't use information from the internet. It simply uses information from the PowerPoints and documents I've uploaded, and then it generates this answer. Now, what I've done in my other GPT, and that's also something to add in this one or any other GPT that you're making, is add the warning that even though it uses my materials, it might still hallucinate. Now, using your own materials sort of mitigates the hallucination effect, so it doesn't happen that often, but it is important that students are made aware of the fact that it can happen so that they double check when things sound wonky. So let's add that as well. All right. So we've added this, and as you can see, it's updated its instructions, and it's updated the GPT as well. So let's say that I want to cover paragraph structure, and I ask the question, what's a good paragraph? Again, it's using the information that I've uploaded to answer this question. As I said, and as you can see, it's searching its knowledge, and then it gives the note. Even though I use your teacher's materials, always check the explanation yourself. If something looks strange or unclear, ask your teacher or check your notes. And then we have the answer to my question. Excellent. Now let's give one more question to check whether it really did what I wanted to do. So let's say, what is the funnel shape in an introduction? And let's see how it answers this question. And this is a nice answer to my question, which is also the thing that I always teach about, so that's very good. And when you're done, you can click on Create, and it will create your GPT, and you can share it with your students or share wherever you want to share it. So So that's basically it. That's how you can create a very simple GPT in ChatGPT using ChatGPT 5.2. Let me know in the comments what are you making your GPT about, and if you have any questions, also pop them in the comments and I'll have a look for you. For now, as always, if you found this video useful, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you want to know more tools and tech-related things for teachers. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in one of my next Teachers Toolkit videos.